We thought this was the kind of thing that only happens in movies, and like bad movies at that. It was not the type of thing that you ever think you're going to get that phone call and it's going to be your kids and now you're in this situation. We live up in north central Arkansas in a town real close to Hardy.
As a little girl, Dawning was incredibly sweet, incredibly intelligent. She made friends easily. She was eager to please. She didn't throw temper tantrums. I thought all kids were that way. It was great. She cried when she found out she was having a little brother instead of a sister. But when we finally got to bring him home from the NICU, you couldn't slap the smile off her face. She was attached from that day forward. We have a tradition on going on a float trip on the Buffalo River every year for our anniversary. This was our 10th year going, and a friend of mine had our kids. I had gone to check my phone. There's probably 20, 30, 40 text messages. And
we were out of service for most of the afternoon, and when we finally got back in service, the phone started blowing up.
My voicemail box was completely full, and the first text message that popped up was Dawning and Buster have been in an accident. It's bad. Somewhere around there, the word head-on collision had started getting passed around. Dawning had been life-flighted out, and their last words to us were just get here. And that told us everything we needed to know. She was in a neck brace. She was on life support. She had tubes coming out of everywhere.
It was every parent's worst nightmare.
At that point, Buster was with us, and we knew that, they would be releasing him that night. They weren't going to admit him, but they needed him to stay close based on the severity of his injuries at that point. And we started panicking. We got in contact with a social worker on the PICU. She was absolutely amazing, very kind, very sweet, and she told us not to panic, not to worry. She was going to be in contact with the Ronald McDonald house. Within 24 hours, they managed to get us in so that we could keep Buster close to the hospital at the same time while caring for Dawning. The staff was amazing at the Ronald McDonald house. They put us at ease, and Buster, he'd come in and Miss Donna would take him over to the toy room and spoil him. One of his favorite things to do was check the mailbox. He learned which one was ours, and anytime he'd come by, even when we come back to visit now, he still thinks that's our mailbox and he wants to go and check.
Dawning's room in the PICU was on the front side of the hospital, and it faced towards the Ronald McDonald house. We would always take out our cell phones and just turn on our flashlights like that and flash our lights
Signal
at each other
so we could see where each other was.
That was one of our ways to say I love you and good night.
About 6 days into it, and we received some really terrible news that night that according to the MRI and the reports, that we should never expect Dawning to recover, and that we may need to discuss removing support. And needless to say, when you're told that there's no hope for your child and you have to make that decision to remove life support, we were crying. We were crying loud. We couldn't hold it in anymore. But we come over to the Ronald McDonald house, and I let the lady know behind the desk that we had gotten some terrible news, and just to the point I was afraid we would wake up our neighbor families if we were in our room. So they opened up the activity center and allowed us to take Buster up there while we made the phone calls to family that we needed to make and just be with each other.
Dawning has made more progress than what they ever told us that she was going to. I mean, she went from never waking up again to walking and talking and feeding herself, breathing on her own. It's been a true blessing.
She's able to stand and walk and use her legs. She's able to enjoy her music and her friends and texting and Facebook and all the things that a teenager would love to do.
I thought the Ronald McDonald house was a good place for them to stay, and I'm just really thankful that they got to stay here. The Ronald McDonald house allowed us to stay together.
Before this accident, I had no idea the need that was out there.
And the Ronald McDonald house wouldn't be able to do this for us without donors.
Thank you to everyone who supports the Ronald McDonald house, because you made it possible for us to stay with our children and to be together as a family through one of the hardest times in our entire lives.